Alright folks, so this is the continuation of the drinking game you've been enlisted in, and these are the 4 characters that Ken has to see for the drinking game to manifest here. So you've got to see Ryu, Chun Li, E Honda, and Zangief, and you can make the rules around it as you will, but that's kind of the concept. So we're going to see Ken Masters' biography here, and we're going to see some stuff about like what's going to happen. So if you really stumble upon this video and you don't know too much of a thing mostly about Street Fighter, if you happen to be one of my supporters and you're like, what the hell is this? Who's this what's this martial arts nonsense? Well, Ken is good at the Dragon Punch, and that's essentially like a special technique, but he's also kind of more cocky, and he has more of an attitude problem and things like that. So he tends to get his ass kicked more, and he's the one who loses his cool, but he's also got a fun and charming personality, and he has a thick girlfriend within a real life setting, supposing they do like, you know, real life stuff like they did back in the 90s with it. So that's kind of the thing. So Ryu is not interested in happening himself upon a girlfriend, but Ken does. That's kind of the concept. If you beat this game at the right difficulty, you actually get to see Ken's girlfriend. But I mean, it's not, I mean, really, I am decent at Street Fighter, but I'll go ahead and say you're not going to really see that ending, just to kind of suppose that, but it's not as if, like, you know, I would feel like I would probably wind up getting way more game overs within that sense than probably, I mean, this playthrough could stretch on. That's really the thing. I'm just doing it relatively briefly, just within that concept, because I know that, that the playthrough could, I mean, I could really get some game overs here and just have some rage-induced type stuff. We're just going to go through it. And I pressed the start button thinking that the start button was like the button to press to get the default Ken. So I reset the machine. The button that you have to press is the Y button. That's kind of the concept. So yeah, I mean, there's some folks that could probably press like every button on the controller and not know which one to go to get the default color. That's just the normal one I choose. I mean, it's creative that they did it, but that's always the one that I would aim for, is to get that one. So yeah, your drinking game continues because we got one of the characters that, of the 4 that we need that are left to get. So it makes sense because in the Ryu playthrough, we got Ken first, so Ken's rival Ryu we would get in the first thing. I don't know if that's just by default or what the scenario is, but not every single character has a rival. Like, you know, like Dalsim doesn't really have one, and Chun Li doesn't really have one, and, you know, like Guile doesn't really have one. So it's just kind of, you know, that's some of the concept. It's really just these 2, but it's just interesting that we would get Ryu right off the bat. It would have been interesting if he would have been like 6th or something, but still, I mean, you just keep munching that pizza and we'll see what happens with the rest of this evening. Because really, I mean, this playthrough that I'm doing here is just going to be, just going to wind up being like, just going to kind of wind up being like a relative 2-hour project. I mean, most people, when they go through with this, they just pick like a difficulty that they can do, and then it's just usually just the one playthrough. But it's just like the last time when I did this in 2020, I want to showcase, especially now that there's more characters, I want to showcase them all. So, but yep, we've got our second character that we needed, Chun Li. So we're gonna have to put her in her place here, you know, because she's definitely nimble. I mean, that's the thing. She has her kicks, and she jumps around a lot, so she's kind of a little bit more prone to avoiding projectiles. She's not quite as big as like Zangief and Blanca and some of them, so, but she's weak. I mean, she's stronger than Cammy, I would say, but she's still relatively weak. Her, Dalsim, and Cammy are like the weaker ones, but yeah, I think they usually are in like sets of 3. I think Fei Long's pretty weak too. You can tell this by his size. He's only like 5'8" or 5'7" or something, weighs like 150 pounds, 40 even, 140. But yeah, so a bonus thing about this is if you pay attention to Chun Li's biography, like the game is very kind of facetious about revealing Chun Li's weight. It just says like she'll never tell or something like that. You know, it's typical, I don't want to say it's typical, but you know, women don't like saying, oh, I weigh 165 pounds. If I had to guess, like if you're absolutely obsessed with knowing how much Chun Li weighs, I can tell by her body type that she probably weighs like 140. I mean, I know she's dainty and a female, but my guess is she weighs like 145 pounds, which is not fat. I mean, you'd have to say within that context, 30 years that Street Fighter's been around and it still hasn't revealed that. But just to kind of say, like, I'd say, people can probably tell that she weighs 145 pounds is what she looks. Cammy looks like she weighs like 130. She's lighter than Chun Li. That's what you have to pay attention to, is paying attention to like females who are 5'5" and 5'7" and stuff, but they weigh like 120 pounds. Like, what the hell are you eating? It's like they're eating like lima beans and saltine crackers all day, stuff like that. I was trying to think of light foods here, but. The thing about it is Chun-Li or not Chun-Li, but Cammy is actually a villain. She's actually not a good character. She works for Bison and that type stuff. So it's one of those, she's an assassin, which is pretty cool. It's kind of the concept there, is to be able to say that, she looks like a good guy because she's in like the military attire, but she's actually villainous. So, you'll see. Just pay attention to the canon of Street Fighter and you'll pick up on it. I don't know how much I'm gonna gush about the canon in this, but this game does have a storyline that it kind of halfway ties into like the gameplay and such. I really wish there were cutscenes. I think I've said this before, but I do wish that there were cutscenes, for each character, at least 2, just to kind of say every 4 fights you get a cutscene, just to kind of give them some backdrop, because they don't even do this in like the ones for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. It was fine not to do it back in 1991, but by 1998 and 2003 they should have done it. But so we're gonna have to whoop Fei Long here. I'm definitely gonna wind up using the Dragon Punch, the Shoryuken. I go out of my way to try to use it. This is kind of the concept, is I'm gonna, because Ken's Dragon Punch is especially dangerous. So it's obvious that you want to use it. If you're going to use it with either character that uses it, use it with him. But so, and another thing, when they see stars like that, when they're kind of dizzy and stuff, use like I forget the name, the hurricane kick. I don't remember the Japanese name for it, but it's called like something, the hurricane kick. So that'll hit them like 5-6 times. That'll really knock them down, and you can almost get a dizzy twice. Attack me if you dare, I will crush you. So, but that's Ken's line. I don't remember if Ryu says in this one, you must defeat Shang Long to stand a chance. Because here's it's a fun fact. This is kind of like a random back in the day rumor, but there are folks who thought that Shen Long was going to be in this because of that line. He isn't. That's basically these guys' boss, or these guys' master, and that type stuff. But that was really good. I knocked the hell out of Dawson there. he got that. He took that right to the chin. But yeah, that's, like I said, this has like some backdrop to it. It has like extra franchise stuff in there, but yeah, people thought that there was an extra character in this, and there wasn't. And Akuma is supposed to be in this also, but he's not really in this one either, which is too bad. Really, they should have just waited and had the version with him in that, but it's just stupid, because that's the one. I would like to fight Akuma for this. That'd be awesome to kind of do. But so I just wonder how tough he'd be, because I hate fighting M. Bison. The last 3 characters, I hate fighting Sagat, I hate fighting M. Bison. Sometimes I hate fighting Vega, and I hate fighting, I think I said M. Bison, and I would hate fighting Akuma in the right. There was an arcade machine. There actually is another game that came out after this called Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which is like the last one they made for this, and that has Akuma in it, so you actually have 13 fights. You fight the 8 fighters, then you fight the 4 boss characters, and then after that, if you're good, like I want to say if you don't get game over, you fight Akuma. Which I'm just like, hell, I wouldn't have a problem with that. They should have done it. Really, people were getting tired of all the rehashes. That's kind of the reason why it didn't happen, but they picked a stupid version to not do. I would have said, fuck it, you know, $50 to have an extra fight and some extra stuff, it'd be okay. That's fine. But people didn't want to waste $50 but they should have just came up with new things to do. I mean, that's the main thing about it. You just keep gobbling your pizza. You just, you know, relish in, like, the lore that I'm talking about here, but... And, yeah, so we'll find out if we fight those other two characters. We still have 2 more fights. Will we fight them? Stay tuned. But, this is kind of one of those things, you know? But... Yeah, I mean, Street Fighter is missed just because this was a pretty dominant game back in the day. I mean, this and Mortal Kombat, but Street Fighter had more colorful personality, but Mortal Kombat had more gore and crunchier, you know, just more realistic type stuff towards it. But they were both good. I would take both of these games, but it's kind of, I mean, they both burnt out after the Sega and Super Nintendo days, but that's kind of the thing. They still kick ass. So alright, we'll find out next time if we fight those characters and that sort of stuff. So stay tuned, subscribe for more fun, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you in part 4, folks.